Three, two, one. Hey guys, I'm Tiger, or Aaron, or however you know me, and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my JLPT N1 experience. Just before we start, sorry about the background. It's dirty. I'm sorry. Still haven't gotten another bookshelf. It'll happen soon. Next video, hopefully, will be there. If you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my notes just to know what to talk about. So I've been actually studying Japanese since about originally 2018, but didn't actually really start studying until 2020 when I found out about Immersion and all of that fun stuff. And I've been doing it ever since, so it'll be 6 years in June of this year. I moved to Japan in the beginning of 2024, and I still live there now, and I live and work in Japan, and it's pretty cool. A lot of YouTube videos going over my Japanese learning journey, my life in Japan, so if that interests you, check it out. You can see I have 6 years worth of update videos. I have a bunch of videos going over my experience living in Japan and some vlogs as well. So, in this video, I'll explain my process of getting ready to take the JLPT, as well as I'll give you some tips on what you can do to replicate my results. If I passed, if I failed, you don't want to replicate that. So stay tuned for when we open up, when we together look at my results when they come out. I'm filming this before it comes out. When they come out in this video, you'll be able to watch with me and find out the exact same moment. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's go. Little background on my Japanese. I started immersing in 2020. I did start learning in 2018 originally, very inconsistently and not with any really good resources, and learned some things, but not a crazy amount. Started immersing in 2020 after watching Matt vs. Japan video and thinking, I guess this is the correct way to do it. Since then, I took the N2 actually in December of 2022. Wasn't confident that I would pass, and I really wanted to get a JLPT certificate for my future job stuff because I wanted to come and live in Japan. And I did that, so that's cool. For the N2, I actually didn't study like at all, besides doing part of a practice test, I believe. But I think the practice test, it might not even been an N2 practice test. It might have been an N1 practice test. But I didn't look up vocab or anything or grammar or anything. And I ended up passing. It wasn't a crazy high score. I think it was like a 123, 126 something out of 180. But I passed and I have a certificate. And that's all I care about. Then in late 2023, I went to Japan. And then I actually ended up getting a job offer while I was in Japan. Went back home in order to do my visa and everything and wait. And then I moved here in February of 2024. So since in the US, I could only take the JLPT in December, and I had a lot of other things on my plate. It was like, I wasn't gonna do the JLPT in 2023 while I wait for my visa. I was too worried about the visa. The JLPT didn't matter. I was already coming over on a job, so it's not like I needed to like worry about getting N1. There was no like real reason besides just, oh, I'd have N1 then if I would pass, you know? From then on, it was a mix of laziness and not really caring. After the July one, I was kind of like, okay, I guess I'll take it in December. And then I took it in December, basically. I was just getting sick of sounding like a loser when people would ask me my JLPT level and like general Japanese level, like in interviews and stuff. And I have to say, like, probably N1, but I don't have N1. It's only N2, but like I read books every day and I have no problems. So like, you feel like a loser. It makes it feel like you're like, oh no, trust me, I'm better. I'm not this shit. I'm not shit. But like, that's what someone who's shit would say consistently, you know? So I was like, I just want to get that done and not have to worry about that. And the funny thing is, in December of 2021, which is about the 1.5 year mark of my AJAT immersion experience, I took an N1 practice test because I think the plan was like to take it in December of 2022. The results for that N1 practice test in 2021, a year and a half into immersion, vocab was a 17 out of 25, grammar was a 14 out of 20, and reading was a 7 out of 24. I didn't take the listening because fuck listening, boring, no thanks. So as you can tell, vocab was pretty fine, grammar was actually pretty decent, and reading just wasn't that great, which is interesting because I actually was reading a lot still back then. So I don't know why my comprehension I guess I just wasn't used to articles too much and like couldn't get it. Not bad for a year and a half, I'd say. So I think if I didn't pass it this time, that's really sad because like 5 years ago, I was basically in a position where if I studied a little bit or tried hard, I think I would have passed. I was probably in a good spot to pass the test years earlier, especially if I would have put like a couple months of study into it, looking over some grammar concepts, studying some words, doing practice problems, etc. I think I would have probably passed, probably in 2022, in that December one. But because I didn't want to study or do anything, I just did N2 just to be safe. because I knew I could pass it without studying. That's kind of how I thought. I was like, oh, I mean, shit, I should be fine. I'll just do it this way, basically. Me taking it was just because I knew I would pass at this point. I hope. I'm already proficient enough in Japanese where the point of passing is just certificate and it being official. I don't really need it. My current job, they wanted someone who could speak fluent Japanese, and I spoke in the interview, was fine, and I got the job. So, it doesn't really matter anymore to me, besides to have it be official. Like I said, read books every day, play games. A lot of my life is fully in Japanese, so it was just to make it official. And I'm pretty sure I passed. How I prepped for the test. Did I actually not study? Yes and no. It really depends on what you consider to study. Yes, I did more than just show up to the test and take it. I did more than that, yes. But did I consistently study? Did I practice problems for every single type of question? Did I make like go through a vocab list, a grammar list? No. I didn't do any of that study. The only study I did was some practice questions from 2 sections, and I will go over that in a little bit. It was a good amount of practice problems, I'm not going to lie, but it was only 2 sections. And I did do 1 Boon Pro practice test. However, it wasn't the full test because, as I said earlier, fuck listening. I didn't take the listening section. I will go through my results about that in a little bit as well. Other than that, all I did was immerse and learn words, grammar as they came at my immersion. The crux of immersion learning. Find an unknown word, look it up in a dictionary, make an Anki card. Find an unknown grammar point, look it up, make an Anki card. That's all I did outside of 1 not even complete practice test and some practice problems. I did use a little bit for the practice problems. The Nihongo no Mori has like they have their book series, and there was like a couple year old textbook that I found on the Moe. So I downloaded it and I did some practice problems. Originally, I was gonna go through basically every single practice problem up until the reading section, do the questions, and if I get it wrong, mine, and rep it in Anki. I started doing that. I did this for 2 question types. The kanji readings, so literally just kanji in a sentence, I think, underlined, and you answer the reading, okay? I did 220 of those questions, and I made 40 cards. 40 wrong out of 220, not bad. And I don't even know if they were all wrong. They were just like, might be good to train this reading a little bit. Grammar, it was pick the correct grammar point, basically. I did 243 questions, and I also made 40 cards. So, same with grammar and kanji, 40 cards out of 220, 240. Honestly, yes, it was studying, but it wasn't very varied and boiled down to just reading a sentence and immediately picking an answer. There wasn't much thought or effort put into it at all. Even when I was wrong, besides just making an Anki card for the correct grammar point and word, that's all I did. I didn't look into it more or like look at a bunch of example sentences or think about it. I just kind of went, okay, make a card, move on. And I repped the card when it came up. And that's it. Let me go over 2 small things. If you're like, that's a lot of studying, buddy, okay? If it takes you a long time to read 220 sentences and then pick an answer, you might not be ready for N1. I'm going to be real with you. Because to me, it was read sentence, instantly pick. I would do like, in one sitting, I would do like 30 or 40 questions. So it was like it didn't take me that many sittings, and I would just do it really quickly and move forward. So, it's not that much time studying, to be honest. And on the actual test, the kanji and the grammar questions, for the specific ones I did, they probably make up, if I had to be even generous, 6 to 8 questions out of like the 70 or 60 that are on that section of the test. So like, yeah, I got some practice, but like, I don't know, dude, like, really, did I? Does it matter did it make that much of a difference? I don't know. You can be the judge of that and then cry in the comments about like studying or whatever. As I'll mention this a little later, everything that showed up on the test also was easier than the practice problems, and it was something that I already knew from just immersing. Every single thing on the test, like grammar, for those 2 sections, grammar and the kanji readings, I knew that reading already. I knew the grammar point from immersion, not because I got it wrong on the practice problem and needed to mine it. So arguably, without even mining those problems, all the ones I did, I still would have probably got the same score on the vocab section and the grammar section. Next, about the Boon Pro practice test, I did the vocab, reading, and grammar section. So the first half of the JLPT test, the first half is vocab, grammar, reading, and then the second half is the listening. So I did the first half. Listening's boring. I didn't want to do it, so I didn't do it. So I took the test. This is a pattern, okay? I'm fast, okay? I took the test in 52 minutes. They give you an hour and 50 minutes. So I had basically a complete hour to redo it if I wanted to, or check my work if I was in a real situation. I was sick while I took this, and I took multiple breaks because in the middle of it, my dad called me for tech support, as they do, and I had to help with that. And I was talking to my girlfriend about stuff as I was doing it. So, yeah. Score for that part of that I took, I got a 62 out of 70. So, yeah, if you're wondering why I am confident and was confident going into this test, it's because of stuff like this. I've also read that the Boom Pro practice tests are probably easier than the actual tests, which I can understand because I thought it was pretty easy. But I think I got lucky and I thought the test in December was actually pretty easy as well. Little bit of thoughts on study. It obviously helped in the fact that I got to do the test once with the practice test, besides listening. That's helpful because then you get to know the structure of the test at least, and you're not going to be surprised when a certain question pops up, right? I had some decent practice on the kanji reading part of the overall grammar section. Keep in mind that those questions I did 400 of probably only equal, I upped it here. I said 8 to 10 on the actual test. I honestly think it might be less. So not a crazy amount, like I mentioned. The obvious thing for me while even doing this was that most of my answers came from general language intuition that like I got with my immersion rather than any stuff that I gained from minimal study. If I would run across like a JLPT like practice question online or something or see something, those answers that I would get wrong and then understand after getting it wrong would never help me somewhere else. It was always like most of the answers and stuff is just because immersion and like I got it from there, not because I like purposely looked for it and then made it specifically. Immersion is the way to pass this test, and I think everyone knows that if you're in the immersion learning community. If you're not, you should be, because then you can get good at Japanese. Immersion is the way to pass the test. If you know Japanese to a high level, then you shouldn't have a problem passing N1 on intuition alone. Like, I mean, not looking at a test at all or doing anything. I think, yeah, you might still get some things wrong or not know some things as solid as others, but I think if you can operate in Japanese at a high level, you can pass the test without worrying. It will be all intuition based and you'll be fine. Like grammar intuition, I mean. And like reading, obviously you read and you know what it says, so you're fine. And vocab, obviously, if you can read, then that's not a problem. But like grammar stuff, like intuition is, I think it's enough to be fine. A lot of the grammar sections are reading the sentence and going, that feels weird. And then you put that, the other one, and you're like, oh, that feels right. And then you go with that. And that's how I answered most things. It's vibes, but it's not vibes, right? Like intuition is just vibes, but like it's real vibes, you know? A little bit about light novels as well. So besides the study, I did one specific thing. I had about a month and a half period before the test. I read for 1 hour a day and I made 10 new Anki cards a day. So I was learning new words all the time and I was getting a lot of reading done. Because during this time, it's a little faster now for the books that I want to read, but I read between 20,000 at like the lower end and 27,000 characters per hour. So I was basically guaranteed on average like 25K, like 25,000 characters read every single day just because it was 1 hour of reading. So sometimes I would read a little bit more and I would like really want to read. So I'd read 2 hours, maybe 3 hours in one day. So that's getting to be 50, 75,000 characters, maybe even a full 100,000 characters in one day while making 10 new cards a day and obviously looking up words as I read. I feel like reading a lot helped me get a lot more vocab and really get back into mining and learning new words. It was super nice to consistently have 10 new words and learn a bunch. And even if they weren't all necessarily like JLPT helpful, like I was reading a lot of fiction and not a lot of nonfiction or articles or things, I'm still getting a lot of reading time in, and I was still getting like, a lot of new words that might be helpful. I read mainly light novels because that's what I was interested in, as I just mentioned. I know they aren't necessarily the best for the JLPT in terms of like going to be the same type of like content, what you read on the JLPT and light novels, but I just decided that reading in a large quantity was the best thing I could do to prepare, even if the reading material would not be on the test, Quantity over quality, baby. I've been preaching that since day one, okay? Do as much as possible. Who cares how efficient? Now we'll go in a little bit about the day before the test. I was super nervous and I got super anxious and I was like, maybe I should have studied for more. Oh my God, I didn't do anything. Oh my God, I should have studied. Oh my God, are you kidding me? If I fail, I'm a failure. Oh my God, if I fail, I'm a fucking loser. Oh my God. So I was freaking out. And then I kind of just relaxed a little bit and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. If I cannot pass with more than what I did in preparation, all the reading, practice problems and stuff that I did, then I'm just not good at Japanese. And that's fine. Like, I'll just get better and I'll pass it next time, right? But it's like, if with what I've done up until now, if I can't pass it with just that alone, basically, then I wasn't good enough. I'm bad. And I'll do it next year, I guess. It would suck and feel terrible. But that's the truth. That's the reality. I'm bad. So that's fine. And I was also triggered because I had to wake up at 6 in the morning to go to the testing site because it was closer to my old address, but I moved. It was closer to where I used to live, became like an hour and a little bit of change from here now. And, you know, fuck me for moving right before the test. Am I right? Idiot, dumb, stupid? Yeah, so I'm an idiot. Now a little bit about the actual day of the test. I have a little video and it'll be a little bit about me and that. So insert video here. Yo, what's up? It's the morning of the JLPT. It's December 7th, 2025, and it is currently not 9. I can't read a clock. 7:20 in the morning. I had to wake up at 6:40. The testing center is in Hachioji. I do not live near Hachioji anymore. I scheduled this before I moved, and now I moved. So it's going to be kind of a long train ride. There's a bus involved as well. But hopefully this goes well. I'm tired. I don't want to go. I'm not excited about this. I do not want to go. As I mentioned before, I've done no prep basically. So we're just going to kind of see what happens. And I think it'll be okay. I was kind of going over my strategy in the shower. Kind of just ready to take this test, see how this goes. But overall, I hope the test goes well. And I'm going to try my best and just, we're going to try to pass, man. I don't care what score I get as long as I pass. If I don't pass, I don't pass. And, you know, whatever, I'll just take it again in 6 months. But, and then probably practice and do prep work. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this over with because it's too early and it's a Sunday, ruining my Sunday. Thank you, JLPT. Appreciate it. Cool. Thanks. Good luck to me today. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that video of me the morning of the test. So yeah, after that, actually going to the test, I was on the train, you know, being a little Chad, reading some Ajin, you know, getting that manga immersion in on the train because, like, what else am I going to do, I guess? Sit on the train and freak out on my phone, so I'll just read Japanese. It's, you know, good practice, I guess. I get off of the train, and you have to take a bus to the testing center. I get on the bus, and this, like, college football team, like American football, based, by the way, gets on the fucking bus with us, and it's, like, just all these, like, dudes, and they're all, like, talking and shit. And the guy in front of me is, like, talking to his one friend, and they're like talking about how their one friend like got like a new haircut, like for the sake of the team. He was like, he's going hard for us. He's going hard for us. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy on about? And then he pulls out his phone and he starts showing it to the guy who's sitting right next to me. So the guy is sitting in front of me and he has his phone pointed towards me and towards the guy right next to me on my left. And I look at the phone because I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? It's this, I guess, their friend. They're filming and he has his pants all the way down, his dick is out, and like he's like completely shaved or something. I forget if he was completely shaved or they shaved his pubes into like a weird shape. It was stupid as fuck. And I was just like, why am I just seeing cock on the bus on the way to the fucking test? Like, how am I supposed to how can I take a test when I just was shown cock on the bus? That was funny. I wanted to mention that because I thought that was like hilarious. During the test, so I finished the first section with 55 minutes remaining. If you didn't expect that, I don't know, but I expected that because of the practice test. I was like, okay, I'll finish it. I'll have enough time to go through my answers and I'll fix whatever I had trouble with. I think a lot of people operate with the JLPT that they're like, oh, I'm not going to finish. So whatever the answer is has to be right. I operated with, I'm going to answer everything and I know I will have time to go back and look at everything. And I did. So I kind of just sat there bored and looking around the room. I did look over my answers and I made some changes and I'm glad I made some of those changes. But yeah, the proctors probably thought I gave up because I was like the only one who finished that early. And I'm just sitting there, like looking around, like I don't know what to do. So I'm just like sitting. And like they like looked at me and they're probably like, damn, that kid gave up, huh? He sucks. And I was like, damn, that sucks. They probably think I'm ass. I'm sad. Yeah, some other people finished with about 10 minutes remaining, but most people were done when the time ran out. So I was surprised by that. I thought more people would actually finish, but it seems like a lot of people go to the end, and I don't know if that's them checking answers or if they didn't even finish all the answers, but it doesn't even look like most people get done with the test, which is really surprising to me. I don't think it's everyone bitches about the time limit. I don't think the time limit is that bad, but maybe I don't know. It's just cuz I read fast maybe, but I don't know. It's just I don't think it's that bad, honestly. Met a nice guy named Charles. He was the only other white guy in the room. And we talked for a bit during the break period. Listening was just as boring as I thought it would be. It was terrible. I kind of spaced out a couple times, so I probably lost points on some questions because of that. Like, honestly, like, I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but like, unironically, I spaced out sometimes, and I was just like, oh shit, like, fuck, what? And I guessed, but not guessed. I heard it, but I didn't fully register. I hate how long it takes to move to the next thing during the listening section. The slow speech is bad enough, like it's terrible. But holy shit, it's an eternity between questions. Like they'll finish and then they'll wait. Like it feels like a minute. And it's like, dude, I wouldn't be so bored if it quickly moved on. But it gives you so much time to put an answer sometimes. I'm just like that's why I was just getting annoyed because I was just bored as hell the whole time. It was terrible. After the test, so 4 people got disqualified because they opened their envelope that had their phone in it. You had to put your phone into an envelope and close it up. And they said multiple times, do not open it until we tell you to. If there is a rip in it, we will consider that opened and you will be disqualified. To get disqualified, they actually have a red card, which is hilarious. So they actually show you a real red card. They're like, red card, and that's disqualified. They also have a yellow card, and that's if you do something smaller. That is an instant disqualification. If you get 3 of those, you get a red card, which is just hilarious. It's just all funny as hell. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, I finished, I left, and I went home, and yay, that's about it. And I was like, woo, we're done, thank God. How did I think it went? We'll start with vocab. I don't think I got a single reading wrong for any of them. Like, I don't think I got any of those wrong. I do remember kankatsu coming up, which is really funny because I actually mined that word from one of the books I read leading up to the test. Kankatsu is like jurisdiction. I learned that in one of the books I read while I was reading in preparation for the test. So once again, word came from Immersion, not from like a word list specific to the JLPT. That's cool. Vocab, piss easy. I don't think any of the words were even hard. Like, you know how there's some words where it's like, okay, that might be like a harder reading or like not as common. But like I thought all the words were relatively normal words and simple readings that even if you didn't know the word for a lot of them, if you knew the parts, like you could kind of figure it out. Like it wasn't too hard. For the grammar section, compared to some of the questions that I saw in practice test stuff, and example questions, I honestly thought the test was so much easier. There was grammar on the grammar questions. I made 40 cards that I like couldn't really know, or I didn't know like the correct usage in that situation or the nuance as I should have known. But on the test, I thought it was all like very simple stuff. Like super like, oh yeah, you learn this in Immersion, you see this in Immersion a ton. If you're reading books, if you're even watching anime and stuff, it was all simple to me. I did probably get 1 or 2 wrong. I expect on every section to get a couple wrong, honestly. I know that the scoring is different, so it might be wrong, but you might get points. But I definitely do not think I got all the questions right, just because like small mistakes happen. You mix up something with another thing and all of that. I thought it was all simple things. You'll see them in light novels. Wasn't anything wild in my opinion. The stupid star section. If you've taken the JLPT, you know what I'm talking about. It's so stupid. Start this note with shit. There were like 2 questions in this section that completely fucked me up. I can't remember what they were, but I just for the life of me could not figure out the order. Like some of them, it's intuition, like I said, you're like, oh, well, obviously this word has to go in this spot, this word has to go in that spot. But there were 2 of them where I was just like stumped. I was like, none of these feel right. Like I could not figure out the correct, like, just order of things, and I was like, no, it all feels weird. For those, I just went, this feels semi okay, and then called it a day and moved on. Other than that, they were all pretty easy, I'd say, and I got them like relatively quickly. I have in parentheses on my notes, based intuition. Thank you, Immersion. Running theme of this, immerse a lot. It's helpful. Reading section. I thought the passages were actually interesting to read because it was different from what I normally read. I normally read all fiction, so it was different and new to me. So I actually really liked like the change of pace. So I actually was having fun with this section. I wasn't stressed. I wasn't worried about the questions either. It was like pretty straightforward and easy to answer because in the section they underline and tell you what part is connected to the question, so that it's really easy to just read the question, go back into the passage, read the context, and then answer the question. There were some where I wasn't sure between two answers, like what would be the actual correct one. They both felt right to me, but maybe there was like a little bit of like nuance in the way that they were speaking way that it was written that led it in one direction that I just couldn't pick up for some reason. But I thought overall they were not that bad, and I actually liked reading all of the passages. It was cool. It was different, and I learned some things about like the world and stuff. Kind of, it was cool. Had a fun time. With my reading speed, I didn't have any issues reading the passage, reading the question, rereading the specific part if I wanted to like 2 times, and then finally answering. That was fine with me. And since I had like an hour left, 50 minutes left basically, I could have done that as many times as I wanted and I still would have been okay. And I'm pretty sure for one of the sections, I read the section like a second time just because I felt like the first time could not get a good grasp of really what it was trying to say. Like I got the overview, but I felt like I could have understood a little bit more if I like paid a little more attention. So I read it a second time. So I probably could have read all of them a second time, maybe even a third or fourth time, and it wouldn't have made a difference for me. Next section, listening. In all caps, boring as fuck. I hated it. It's terrible. I'm sorry. I can't. It just sucks. It's not hard. I don't know what to say. Even if I got things wrong, like I don't care. The listening is not hard, dude. It's not hard. They just try to trick you with stupid shit. So if you just know that they're trying to trick you and you're confident and you can understand Japanese, you're fine. It's just boring and life. It drains your soul, dude. It drains your soul. Definitely made some mistakes, like I said, because of zoning out. It's a really stupid and dumb excuse, but it is the reality. I was just so bored because it just takes so long and the answers are not hard really. So as soon as you hear the right answer, you know that it's the right answer, you answer, you move on. So there were times where the first answer would be the right answer and they'd say it in the thing like very quickly and I'm like, okay, and then you're just waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting and you just want to be done. Not because it's hard, and like maybe some people are just like they're tired. It's not even that I'm tired, it's just like the content is boring. If it was not boring, I would have been fine, but it's boring and it sucks. Overall, I probably got an okay score, I would assume. There's one that I know I got wrong that I'm really kicking myself about. But other than that, I think there was a couple that I didn't really hear well because I was zoned out. But everyone that I heard well and believed that I knew what I was doing, I believe I got those right. Overall, I thought it was pretty smooth, and the fact that I had so much time left over on the first section means that I should get a decent score. I don't think, unless you're just putting things randomly, if you at least have some confidence in your answers and you do go through it really fast, I think that's an indication that maybe you do know the material and you're going to get a good score, rather than it being like, oh, you went too fast and made a bunch of mistakes. I think going fast doesn't always equal mistakes. It can, but I think if it depends on how you feel in your level. So personally, I think it means I got a decent score. But because of the scoring system, I don't know what the number will be because they don't do it just you got question right, you get 1 point. It just doesn't work. That's not how the scoring system works. We'll see, I guess. If I failed, I would be incredibly surprised just because, like I said, I didn't think anything was particularly difficult, and there wasn't ever a string of like 4 or 5 questions where I couldn't get the correct answer. I knew sometimes, and I knew for a good amount of them that it was the correct answer. I did do a slight scoring of my vocab and grammar and reading section based on the leaks that came out, and from what I could remember, and if I couldn't remember, I immediately said I was wrong. So this is a mix of ones that I know I got wrong and ones that I couldn't remember what I put. So could have gotten it right, but for the sake of being safe, I said I got it wrong. And I shouldn't have more than 12 to 15 questions wrong in that first section. And I don't know how this, like I said, scoring, don't know exactly how it works, But I'd be surprised if with 12 to 15 questions wrong, I don't get an overall passing score on that section. No matter how you do the scoring, I believe I should be okay. Listening, as long as it's not bad, I should pass with no issues. But I couldn't check listening because, there's no way, even with the leaks, there's no way to tell because it's just answers. It doesn't give you context. So I really hope I passed because I never want to deal with that again. It's just boring, not fun at all, and it stole my whole damn Sunday. They put that shit on a Sunday. I had to wake up. I had to go to work the next day. What the hell, man? I want to relax. Why are you stealing my Sunday? That's fucked up. Inserting after this the results. You will see what score I got. You'll see my experience, me personally watching, clicking the button, seeing the results. We'll see it at the same time together and get my first reaction. I hope you enjoy that. Hey guys, it's actually the night before the results come out. It's like 10:30 p.m. on the 29th of January. The results are supposed to come out on the 30th. It says 10 a.m. for places outside of Japan. It doesn't have a time for Japan. So Japan might get this at midnight. So I'm getting ready to do this in case it's at midnight. But before I do that, I just want to quick say, watching the video back as I'm editing it, the whole time I'm like, I thought this test was easy. I thought this test was easy. And I do think that. So I'm going to be devastated if I failed because I'm going to look like a crazy person and like I know nothing. But other than that, I also just want to say, this is for everyone and it's for myself, just in general. If you take the test and you pass or you don't pass, honestly, it doesn't matter unless you need it for something. But in terms of your Japanese level, it's not going to change things. Like if I open up that webpage and it says I failed, it's not going to change the fact that I just played a visual novel for 2 hours and didn't find a word I didn't know. It's not going to change the fact that I can read a book in 3 hours. It's not going to change these things. So whether you pass or fail, it really doesn't matter. So I don't think anyone should get too upset about it if you do end up failing. At the end of the day, it's not going to change things. Things matter. Your Japanese ability matters outside of the test. So whether you pass or fail, I don't think you should worry too much about it or care that much. That was just something I wanted to say. Also, it's cope in case I fail. But honestly, if I fail, you can flame me in the comments, dude. I'm ready for the fire. I'm gonna be flaming myself because oh my god, I can't believe that. Next time you'll see me, we're gonna be looking at the results together. So I'm excited, but very nervous. I'm freaking out, dude. I need to get in the bath to chill. I'm freaking out. All right, we're recording. We're going. Apparently it's up. I saw a Reddit thread. Someone in Reddit said that they passed N1. Congratulations to that guy on Reddit. I don't know if this will be in the video because I'm going to be reloading the page. It just says that it's okay. Oh my god, come on. I just got to get into my page, dude, and then click the button. Come on. All right. 3, 2, 1. I hope it fucking loads the page. Dude, my hands are so sweaty. Oh, I passed. Barely. Damn, I suck. Hey, I passed though. Hey, we take it. Oh, docs. What? I'm a little upset with myself with that one. What? All right, well, as someone who reads a lot of books, I felt confident in my reading, and I actually, like I said in the video, I enjoyed the reading section, and I was like, oh, this is good. I'm actually surprised by that. Well, that's annoying, I guess, at the most. But I passed, so who cares? These scores don't mean anything. It is cool though to have this on it. Not that it means anything either. But yeah, I passed. That's cool. The reading, man. I'm annoyed. I'm just a little annoyed by that one. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But hey, I'll take it, I guess. It's better than failing, right? So that's cool. So if I would have gotten a 44 on there, because damn, that was the lowest score. The other ones were the exact same score. So let's get my quick math. So we got 88, and then we would have, so it'd be 120, 132 out of 180. Even then, that's lower than what I wanted to get on the test. This is overall lower than what I really would have been happy with, but I'm never gonna take this test again. I do not give a shit, man. You're done with me. I've passed. I passed it. I can say that I have N1. That's good enough for me, I guess. But yeah, If you took the JLPT, let me know in the comments how it went for you. I hope you passed. I hope you got a better score than me. Huh. I'm gonna be pissed off about this just because, like, I want to know what I got wrong. It'd be cool if you could see, because I did feel like I understood a good amount and that I was answering accurately. So I don't know. Maybe I just actually suck at reading and I don't understand what I'm reading, which would be very interesting. Or if I just got tripped up on some questions. But yeah, stay tuned for the rest of the video where I give some advice and then we close this one out. Yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate it so much. I love you guys. Oh my god, sorry. I forgot what I was going to do, but like I got alcohol. Yay, Kanpai, we passed. Woo. Dude, the Horoyoi Shiroi-sawa, this shit's good. Okay, enjoy the rest of the video. Welcome back. As you can tell, I'm still wearing the same clothes as the first part. I'm filming all of that before the results. So you know if I passed, but me, when I'm filming this, I don't know yet. That's crazy. But yeah, here's some advice, I guess. If you need the JLPT, and I mean need, this is what I think you should do. Study towards it while immersing. No matter what you want to do, immersion should be the backbone of anything. Whether you're going to study for it, not study for it, you need it, you don't need it. Immerse a lot, okay? But outside of that, go through Anki decks specific for the JLPT, N5, N4, N3, N2, N1. Go through all of those. You can sentence mine on the side as well, obviously look up things during immersion, but make sure you have a JLPT-centric Anki deck to go through and kind of make it so that you're definitely good for the vocab stuff on the test. For grammar lists, you can go through and make grammar decks based on each level as well. You can watch videos on that. You can do whatever you want. I think probably if you just watch like a video of every grammar point explained for each level while you immerse and while you do other things, you'll pick up a lot of them as well, and it won't be a problem for you. And then yeah, when you get closer to tests, start doing practice tests. Get used to the format, maybe watch videos on test taking tips if you need help with that. Do a bunch of practice problems if you want as well. And then mine and basically practice whatever you get wrong. I think that's a good thing. Basically just immerse and do as much dedicated study as you want. And then just to help you achieve whatever level you want to achieve in whatever time period. You're going for N2 in 2 years. You could probably do N1 in 2 years, honestly. But N2 in 2 years, I think if you're immersing a lot and you're doing stuff towards the test, you'll be able to do that, and you can adjust as you go depending on how you feel about the progress. Take a practice test monthly if you want to always see the difference. There's so many practice tests online you can take and previous tests. So do that. Make it a habit. If it's something you want to work towards and you know you want to take it at a certain day for a certain level for a certain reason. If you don't need the JLPT, basically how I was, take it whenever you want, obviously, if you want to take it, if not. But if you immerse, sentence mine, etc., you'll pass. Congrats, eventually. Depending how long it takes, depends on a lot of things, I guess. But if it necessarily doesn't matter to you, you don't need to do a single thing towards the test. Congrats. Just immerse until you can pass it naturally, I guess. So that's up to you. But same with the other one, obviously. Add in dedicated study if you want. It's the advice doesn't necessarily change. It's just do more dedicated study if you care more, do less if you don't. That's it. But immerse a lot, always. You might need to study some tests, even if you don't study for the test, just so you get used to what type of questions are and you're not surprised trying to understand how to do the STAR question the first time when you're actually taking the real test. Do like one practice test just so you know what you're going to do. And if you aren't great at tests, other than that, I don't think you need to do any extensive study. Just do a practice test or two and you should be fine. If you can't pass without active study towards the test, like you need to have the grammar points for that test, you need to do the vocab thing. If you can't pass without that, you just might not be ready for that level, and I think that's fine. There's no issues. So if you're not like you don't have to do a certain level in a certain amount of time. Just progress when you progress, and if you fail, you fail. If you don't fail, you don't fail. Like it's literally it. Just like don't feel like you have to study for the test because you'll pass eventually. You will. Just immerse more, look up more, and do that over and over again a lot, bro. Forever. That's it. It's always the advice, but it's the same here. It's who's surprised? No one. If you made it to this far in the video and you're surprised by that, come to the good side of immersion learning. Watch all my videos, watch some AJAT update videos, and ask some questions and get going, because like Everyone should know that. Just immerse, just look up stuff and do that forever and you'll get good. That's just common sense, I thought. All right, next, the conclusion. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a lot of fun to make it. It was nice to talk about this. For any questions that I didn't answer in this video, feel free to ask me in the comments or ask me in DMs on like Twitter or Discord or other social media sites. They're all in the description. Obligatory, I can be really bad with answering DMs. I'm getting better, I've been better this year. So please understand, I do not hate you. It's just my brain has issues, I think. So I don't hate you. I actually like you a lot. You're cool. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to want to talk to me. I appreciate that. I need to be the better person in that exchange, okay? Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Join the channel as a member if you would like to, because I have that. It's like, I don't know how much a month, but you get emotes and support me, and I don't know. If you want, you don't have to. It's just there. Look out for my monthly live streams that I do, and check out all the other Japan-related videos and Japanese-related videos on the channel. Like, you got my vlogs. Check out my newest vlog where I go to Aomori. Check out my video about switching jobs in Japan. Watch my 5-year update, my 5.5-year update. Watch my 5.5-year Japanese speaking video. Watch all my videos. They're pretty cool, I think. You should watch all of them. Yeah. So, I guess this ends this one here. Not as long as normal, but I think it was just as valuable. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day. And don't forget to keep immersing. You got this. You're gonna do it. You are gonna make it. Let's go!